Alright everybody, today we are working on a 59 Chevrolet two-door hardtop Impala. It's had some quarter panel work right here where a person had hit it at this angle. This car is from California and went to Odessa, where my dad bought it from a guy who brought it from Odessa to not Conroe, but Pate Swap Meet in Dallas. This is a California car, California frame, California bumpers. Very nice car. Never had a lick of rust on it in its entire life. But today we're going to be working on, it has a 1998 Corvette tune port motor in it. And one of these injectors down here, or down in there, are leaking, so we have to replace the O-rings on them. It's actually the O-ring in between the injector and the fuel rail that runs along. There's a O-ring that snaps into place whenever you put that in there. So today we will be taking the plenum off, taking this off, which I've actually already taken the bolts out for. We've got one bolt here, two bolts in the middle, and one bolt on the end on each side. One side, one side. Then once we get that out, we have to take the, let's go ahead and show you. These bolts are already out. I did not disconnect the throttle cable or the kickdown cable or detent cable for the 700R4 transmission. I've already unplugged most of the, you see the injectors down there. I've already unplugged most of their wires. You make sure and label each one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One on this side, two on that side, back and forth all the way down. Once you get all those marked and out, then you need to take out these little bolts right here on each side of your fuel rail. And you pull those out, I believe, and then you yank the fuel rails out. Once you yank the fuel rails out, you can get to the injectors and replace the O-rings and then do everything you just did in reverse. So we're gonna get some time-lapse footage of what we got going on so far. Stay tuned, watch, and welcome back to Youngblood's Rides and Customs. Alright everybody, this is our fuel rail system here with our 8 injectors, 2, 2, 2, and 2. And these are our O-rings. That is the part number of the box and everything like that you're going to need if you ever need to do this. But this is changing out the O-rings on this part. It won't focus. This part and this part. This is the part that actually goes down into the intake, which feeds each cylinder. And this is the part that goes, as you just saw where I pulled it from, out of the fuel rail. Kind of hard to do this while looking through a camera. Out of the fuel rail. So if this seal goes bad, this O-ring, if this O-ring goes bad, you have leak here, which is what I had. So one of these is leaking on this O-ring, but I'm sure I'll figure it out once I get to it. If not, all you need to make sure of is each one of these boxes has 2 O-rings in it. Yes, for some reason they do not sell that in a complete set at O'Reilly's, or at least what I got, they did not. But you pop this O-ring off, pop it off just like that. Once you get the new one out of here, make sure you use some type of O-ring lubricant, because if you put this thing in there dry, in that hole and in the hole that is inside the motor, which I have plugged off with paper towels right now, that's a very smart thing to do if you're going to wait any amount of time before doing this. I had to wait the amount of time because the part that I got to fix these O-rings was not the right part, and I had to go back to O'Reilly's. You love whenever that happens. But I'm going to get all the O-rings changed out with all of the injectors, and then we will be putting this back on. I know my fuel regulator was not leaking, so I'm not going to touch it. Pray to God it doesn't leak, because you got to do all this over again, take it back apart. I normally am very against that, but usually if they do not leak right now, then they will not leak for the foreseeable future. We are going to be changing all the intake gaskets as well whenever we go to putting everything back together. But this is what we got so far. We're going to get some time-lapse footage of getting this done. All right, we've got our new O-rings on every single injector, top and bottom. We're going to pick this back up and set it back over here. Let's go ahead and remove our paper towels that are covering the inlets for the injectors. Here. Go ahead and inspect your inlet holes where the injectors go to make sure there are no burrs or trash that are in there that would cause the vehicle to have a fuel leak. Once you get all of this done and you get your injector set back on here, then it's the reassembly stage where we have to put all of the hoses that come up here to each side on the plenum. We're going to do all that. I noticed a vacuum hose that you can barely see that sticks off the bottom of the plenum that did not have anything hooked to it, so makes me wonder if this thing did not have a slight vacuum leak, which would not be completely outrageous in an older vehicle like this, especially one that's not all original, even on an original one of this age. But we're going to see if we can plug that up. We're going to lay this back on there, put the injectors down, lay all the rails back on, hook the fuel lines back up, put the breather back on to the throttle body, and see if we can crank this thing back up. But we're going to get some footage of that getting back together, and I'll be right back with you as soon as we get it all back. All right, now we're here. Let's go ahead and turn the key on. Maybe go ahead and cycle it just a couple of times to make sure it's building up the correct amount of pressure. Now we're going to leave it on. We're going to walk right back out here underneath your engine bay and go ahead and inspect around each one of these injectors. You know the motor is up to fuel pressure now. You can actually hear the fuel pump running in the background. And there is not a single leak around any injector. Go ahead and shake your regulator, because this thing does tend to leak sometimes. This one is still good. All the injectors are good. So now we're going to get back to some more video of putting this thing back together. Just a good tidbit to know, so if you ever do this, make sure you're not working twice. Everybody hates working twice. We'll get back to it. All right, guys, fast forward. The car does run. We had a couple leaks whenever it came to the injectors, where they go into the fuel rail, which is a little bit of a biddy to deal with, but cranks right up. Sit here and idles. It's got that older fuel injected system that's trying to learn right now, but it's there, has all the gears. About to go on a test drive. Stay tuned.
As always, thank you for watching. Subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and hit that bell notification. See you in the next one.